I think the word is akimbo, right? Arms, legs,
Right.
splayed, in every direction.
This week on That Car Show, Dan thinks we're recording when we're not. It's been a big 48 hours for car news. Dodge pulls the Charger Daytona RT EV.
The charger plug.
Charger plug.
There you go. Pulls the plug on the Charger Daytona RT because of lack of interest. Honda pivots back
I'm
to
shocked.
hybrid from EVs.
Sorry,
And-
trying to keep the joke going.
Saddest of all, Porsche ends the 718 and Boxster 718 Cayman and Boxster production this year. So
Yeah.
pour one out for those.
Yeah.
I had an epic Southern California car day with a Shelby event in the morning and the Zenvo Aurora reveal in the evening. Dan looks at copious amounts of wagons at the Peterson. We had some listener questions. Ryan got to drive a Ferrari 355. And you can read more about it in his latest article for Autoblog out this week.
The longest intro ever for the shortest episode ever. I love it. Is that it?
That's all.
All right.
The end. And now you don't have to listen to the show.
So welcome to this week's That Car Show. The gang is back together for another cruise show. And we're going to kick things off with a bit of a good news, bad news. So let's start with some good news. The good news is that Ryan has had a discount on his car insurance and finally is now going in the right direction. Isn't that right, Ryan?
Yeah, $30 a month, which I know is nothing. That's a cocktail and a half probably in LA, if that. But
It
$30
adds
bucks,
up though, right?
Yeah, it's $360 a year if you're following, it's just I wasn't expecting to see that. You get the this is how the insurance companies do it now. They send you an email and they say, oh, you've got your policy has renewed, but if you want to see what it was renewed at, you've got to find your password, log in, right? And I was just so shocked to see that it actually gone down. And then I was reminded that I'll be turning 50 here in the next 6 months, and I guess it's one of the few benefits of getting older.
One of the perks.
One of the
You mean
perks.
besides the life experience and wisdom you've gained?
I must be in the prime of my driving life, though, right? I'm the safest. I'm the
Less of a risk to everyone else.
exactly,
On the road.
and that's. I mean, it's amazing. Any of us are here, I suppose. But it's I don't know. It's the little things. As you get older, it becomes the little things more and more, right?
Right.
All right, so we're all going on vacation.
There we go. Ryan's paying for the cocktails as long as
Right.
it's not in
Ryan's
LA.
treat.
I know a place in Brownsville, Oregon that we can.
There we go. You get a burger and a pint for $30.
That's
wouldn't
right.
you?
Well, and now that you guys have performed there, we have an insider secret, right?
I think we need to go back to collect those tips, don't we?
I do wonder how that show went after we left.
Yeah.
I think it might have been worth sticking around to find out.
I know.
Seeing if, somebody didn't show up and they're like, you guys are up.
Yeah, all right. Do you know how much alcohol that would require?
Hey, sometimes you got to do it for the plot, though. You're like, what? In fact, we are the comedians.
Right?
Point me to the stage.
Next time.
Next
Next time
we'll
the three of
make
us are traveling together, Lindsey, that'll be our opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
go to the comedy store in LA and
Yes.
on open night.
Yes,
Open
let us
mic
right in.
night.
You're
So
like,
bad
you're
news. So
absolutely
good
right.
news, bad news. Bad news today. There has been a significant announcement from Stuttgart. And actually, as a result of this announcement, it may push Ryan's insurance back up.
Yeah.
So what have Porsche
How it
said?
goes. Yeah.
Porsche has announced, a spokesperson from Porsche confirmed that the 718 Cayman and the Boxster will cease production later this year.
We knew it was coming.
Pour one
didn't we?
out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and
crazy.
would you like to know why?
Are they blaming tariffs? Because it seems like everyone is blaming tariffs.
No, they are blaming cybersecurity.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
really?
right.
So here's the background. So on July 1st, 2024, the UN passed regulation number 155, so UN R155, went into effect requiring automakers to integrate specific cybersecurity protocols in all vehicles sold at large volumes.
Oh.
Additionally, the regulation requires that automakers must maintain an audit-ready record at each step in the development, showing all privacy measures that were implemented. Porsche would have to completely re-engineer the Boxster and the Cayman in order for these models to be in compliance with the regulation, which is much too costly given the timeline for the launch of the EV 718. So it's not economically viable for them to go back and completely redesign both of those cars. And they also can't scrap all the development they've invested in the EV 718s. So unfortunately, it kills those two models.
And I take a look at my GT4 here, and I think it's a pretty basic car, right? Like, it's not like some technology-laden thing like, a Tesla or something, right? But maybe that works against it because you can't back engineer or whatever in the same way either.
Well, and I think, people joke about like the cars are now computers on wheels, but we all know how much software is in the cars at this point, and a lot of it we don't see, obviously. But I mean, I know when I was at the automotive tech company, when I was at Zenvo up here, like that was a big deal. We qualified for some certification where we had met all the requirements. We were being safe with the data. And we were just producing a part of it. And it was a huge deal for us to achieve that. So to have to certify the entire car, I can imagine. And when you think about to have to maintain an audit ready record that's available and current at any moment, that could necessitate the creation of an entire department almost, for the company to stay in compliance. So
of all the things I thought would put the final nail in that coffin, I didn't think it was going to be cybersecurity.
The robots are running amok and destroying some of our favorite cars.
I guess so.
It does pose the question, though, because a lot of the parts are shared, aren't they, between the 911 and the... So how is it that the 911 meets those requirements? And
I mean, it could just be like if they looked at the whole landscape and they said, okay, we can afford to keep some, but not all.
Yeah.
That would be my guess, especially because they're so far into the 718.
Yeah.
I think that
8
played
years.
a role in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't, to try and justify that as a company, like we're just going to toss that out. That doesn't work either.
Right.
Big decisions, aren't they?
Despite the 982 nomenclature, right, it's not really aligned with the 992. It's like a half generation behind. So that was always interesting, too. They never really, another story for another time. I don't want this to turn into a Porsche podcast, but yeah.
What? Wait, what do you mean going to turn into one? I think we're there.
I think that is the single most common thread in the feedback we get, that I talk too much about Porsche.
You know
Let's go back to
can.
good news, shall we?
Yeah. Well, we have, in the last 48 hours, we have the two other news items.
They're both bad news, though, aren't they?
Both bad news. So here, why don't we get them out of the way? Maybe?
Okay.
Just briefly, Honda has announced it's switching its focus from EVs back to hybrids. And Dodge, there was not enough interest in the electric Charger Daytona RT, so Dodge has announced that will not be happening either. And back to you with the good news, Dan.
Surprised?
Yeah. These are like common sense statements, aren't they? It's like, we knew as consumers, it took a while for the car companies to catch up.
Yeah.
If they just called that car show, we could have saved them a lot of trouble.
Right. Available for consultancy. 1-800-THAT-CAR-SHOW.
That's right. We have all the answers. Yes. All
back
right.
to good news. So by the time this podcast is out, our very good friend Jorge Aquino and Tormenting Tarmac will have released, I think we recorded it a month ago, wasn't it? Even more, maybe.
Yeah.
It was mid-April. Yeah. So more than a month.
So that episode, so if you want 2 doses of us this week, then listen to Tormenting Tarmac and That Car Show.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I do remember at least 2 of us were very, very tired that evening. That said, Jorge promises that it's a fun episode. So
a banger, I think.
A banger.
Banger.
A banger. Yes.
That's the metric. If Jorge says it's a banger, that's how you know it's good.
Not mid, right?
No.
Oh.
Banger all the way.
We only deliver banger episodes.
Fire.
Come on, let's be honest.
Yeah. So on the good news theme, I think we talked about this in the past about gated manual cars.
We did.
And I think, Lindsey, you were the only one who had driven a gated manual car. Is that right?
I think that's correct. I drove a friend of the show, Mark Foster's 308, and that was the first gated manual I had driven.
So now I'm the odd one out because Ryan, you lived a boyhood dream this week, didn't you?
I did my best at living that dream. Thanks to a local friend here, Brian Rudin, I was able to have my first Ferrari F355 experience. And my excuse was it was an Autoblog article. So look for that by the time this show is released. If not Friday, probably Monday it'll be out. But
That's awesome.
As a writer, you're always trying to sort of find, something that hits right with the audience. And so I had this idea: why don't I drive the poster cars of my youth, right? And that's just a great excuse to get behind the wheel of some of these things. So you heard it here first.
I have to. It's for work.
Well, next week he's going to be in a Model T Ford. Sorry,
I see what you did there. I see what you did there. I'm more of a Model A generation, but it's actually, you know what the next car will be? Yeah, and you won't. I guess what's the you heard it here first. But
is he just flexing now, Lindsay?
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, what else could I? Yeah.
Well, we'll come back to the 355, but I think next on the docket is a Lamborghini Diablo. So, but I have to be able to fit in it, and that was a bit of a challenge with the 355.
Really?
I learned more about 355s in the last 24 hours putting this article together and talking with Brian. But this is a 95, which is the first year of the 355. I learned a couple things. The manual transmission cars, which was the only car available for those first few years, those are technically called the F355, and then later they were joined by the first F1 cars, right? The automated manual cars, and those are referred to as the 355 F1. So there's a distinction. During the fact checking stage, I had to go back and make a few adjustments. But beautiful car. The 95 car is a little different because it was the first year, and it was the only year of the OBD1 cars. So for 1996, OBD2 came in. And I guess those who know like the 95 because it's got a freer flowing engine and maybe a little more oomph, even if it's not officially that.
So why do they feel like that's the case? Like, what was the difference?
Yeah, I think there are a few detail differences. Maybe the seats are a little bit different. I think it just supposedly sounds a little bit better. As a freer flowing, engine and all that.
Was it like a bigger air intake or something like
that? I think so. It was maybe a single intake versus two, or something that changed the intake sound, I think, is
like the
what
performance.
That is. Yeah. And a few other little things that just, I guess, make it the one to have. But along with that, in an already small car, you get an extra small pedal box, which I guess was but for the 96 cars, for whatever reason, it got bigger. So much like
customer feedback.
Yeah, I think that must have been it. These cars literally were our poster cars, and so they always sort of loomed larger than life. And you don't really think about them being as small as they are, especially, anyone can fit in a 458 or a newer, Ferrari, right? Or especially the front engine cars, right? They're pretty substantial, right, vehicles. Well, the 355 was in so many ways the last of the old school cars, right? And so they're tiny. And then my friend who owns the car, and he's got like all the cool cars from when we were growing up. So hopefully this is the beginning of a
long and beautiful friendship.
Yes. You'll have to read the article for kind of the genesis of his collection and all that. But
that's fun. There's a good story there.
Great story there, but the thing is, we are sized very differently. I'm as I say in the article, I'm an XL to his medium, and so his cars are set up for him, and so
makes sense.
Well, I probably would have been able to fit in this car okay with the stock seats. He's got this car sort of set up to challenge. What was the racing series, the Ferrari Challenge spec? And so he's got Sparco racing shells. So they're non-adjustable. They probably just weren't positioned how I would have positioned them. So I was able to get in the seat. It was a little tight, but I was just like, I think the word is akimbo, right? Arms, legs, splayed, in every direction. Yeah. And so because of that, I didn't really get the drive driving experience that I probably would have otherwise. It's going to be remedied soon because one of his friends has a Targa with the standard seats, and so he swears that I'll fit it fine. But we'll see.
Nice.
But what a
So you
cool
get to do
car!
a little compare and contrast.
A little compare and contrast, yeah. And then I'll just have to do a spider just to complete the set. But you know the car, right? I mean, it's an icon. It's supposedly one of the best sounding modern Ferraris. I think that's true. Everyone who's got one has some sort of aftermarket exhaust, a Tubi or Capristo. Brian's got something different,
choices.
which isn't coming to mind right now. But I guess I was expecting something a little more brutish, a little more rough. It rides amazingly well. It's like a sewing machine, right? It's smooth. It's easy to drive. I mean, I think his car is really dialed in. That gated shifter, it didn't add a layer of difficulty or anything. It came very naturally. As we were talking about before we hit record here, I was very, very careful downshifting it a second because, it's about 5 millimeters away from reverse. And that's not how I want to go out.
We're anti-money shift here on that car show.
Yeah. And of course, speaking of money, there was a time when these were pretty affordable Ferraris, right? These were $50,000, $60,000 cars, and not that long ago. And
That's
I think
accessible.
a good coupe now is closer to 150, and a good Targa is even a little more. Spiders, I think, can still be had probably for 80 or 90,000, which is interesting. And as I mentioned in the article, maybe the Spider is the move for me, just easier to get in and out of. But beautiful driving car, just. Everyone thinks it's a Testarossa, right? It does have that sort of look, but Brian...
Which I love. That's from my childhood.
Brian says this is a much better driving car than a Testarossa, right? The Testarossa kind of, lumbers around, and this thing is light on its feet, right? Which makes sense. But didn't disappoint other than it just didn't fit the damn thing very well. And, I don't know. It's rough out there. Now, granted, it's not just the height. If I lost 40 pounds, it'd probably fit me a lot better too. The
fixed seats might not be as much of an issue.
Now, did you lust after this car, either of you? I mean, was this for me? This was kind of the first modern Ferrari on the map for me, right? The one that.
I think the
what was it for you?
Testarossa
I'm a little
made
older
such
than
an
you both.
impression-
So
the Testarossa made such an
Yeah.
impression on me as a kid. I was lucky to get to see one up close. We had a family friend's uncle that actually had one, and so
nice.
he brought it over when I was
nice.
like 5th grade, and so that's kind of the one that that, and of course Magnum was my first television show. So between the Testarossa and the 308, I was kind of the Ferraris were sort of settled for me on those two.
Yeah, I've not driven one, but in 2009, I did a what's the right word? What is it when people take a journey to something sacred?
A pilgrimage.
Oh, yeah.
Pilgrimage. I did a pilgrimage to Le Mans, and I was co-driver in one. And
What?
So I didn't drive it. I just was co-driver. A friend from work had it. Yeah. But the thing I remember, and it'd be interesting when Ryan, you drive the other one. It's amazing how you just remember small things about cars.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, it was how comfortable it was. It
Really?
was one of the
Yeah.
most comfortable car I've ever ridden in. And this is a sports car, right?
Yeah. I agree, or I'll agree with that statement. It seemingly rode better than my GT4. Again, even the passenger seat was a
Sacrilege.
racing shell, so my knees were up high. It didn't look too cool, but yeah, I was expecting it to be a real flinty ride.
Yeah.
I solicited questions for tonight's show on Instagram and got several questions around the 355. A lot of them were around maintenance costs and just ownership costs, and that was something that I asked Brian. And one of the things that I think has scared a lot of people away from these cars in the past was this engine out, right? Engine out every 3 years, engine out. It's this big deal, whether you drive or not, you got to take the engine out.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that was more of a cash grab from Ferrari back in the day than an actual necessity, and that the accepted interval now is closer to 7 years. So when you look at it, 7 years, Brian's like the annual running costs of this thing are like $3,500.
For a Ferrari.
Yeah.
That's manageable.
That's, I would say it's probably more than, your typical Porsche, but not by much.
10 years of savings from Ryan's insurance.
That's right.
So really what your insurance is saying, we are paving the way for you to get a 355.
Absolutely.
Happy birthday.
Absolutely. And if I drive this next one and I can fit in it, I think it's a car I'd love to own someday. It's just, Jorge, actually, speaking of Jorge, he asked what was like versus the GT4, and it's similar in some ways because both mid-engine, very well balanced, very light, but it was even a lighter, smoother experience than the GT4, and that's really saying something. But also didn't
especially
seem
for you,
delicate.
because we know how much you love the GT4.
Love it. I mean, I'm sure the GT4 would run circles around a track, whatever. It's just 30 years newer, right? But I don't think it would be quite the Gulf that you might think at first, right? And this car had a Brembo big brake kit. It had it had the Challenge wheels, which are a little bigger. It'd been lowered an inch and all that, so it's really dialed in. And guys, that sound, if you buy it for no other reason than that sound, it is just. I go to a little more descriptive in the article, but nothing sounds like that except an 8-cylinder F1 car, and that's. It's amazing going through a tunnel. I only wish it were a little louder, right? I mean, it was just that good. It just sings.
Yeah,
So
very
anyway,
cool. Well, so
moving on, but it was fun.
We're going to hear about the Diablo next time, right? In terms
absolutely.
So let's go a bit more modern, and there is a Danish supercar that I think was brought to fame, and it was the first time I knew about it from Shmee in the UK, because he had a partnership with one. But they've launched a new car in LA last weekend. Lindsey, was that right?
That's right. The Zenvo, it's like Zenvo 2.0 is what all the company representatives were describing it as, because the company was founded in 2007. And what I love is that they say we've been producing Denmark's only hypercar for 15 years, which is, I don't know that there's a lot of competition in Denmark, but clearly not. So the first car was called the ST1, but what they debuted in the US on Saturday is called the Aurora. And so there are two models. Publicly, they announced the Aurora in 2023, but this was they're kind of on the US, launch tour with two versions of the Aurora, the Agile and the Tour. And those are Danish words for agile and touring.
Okay.
So they have the road-going one and the track-focused. And the launch was at Galpin Lotus in Beverly Hills, which is a really cool location. If you haven't seen, it's worth a trip just stopping in to see the building, because it's a really unique building and makes for amazing car spotting, even just on the road, around the building. And so it's a totally new, ground up design. It's the lightest and most powerful road car that Zenvo has produced. And I was lucky enough to get to sit in the tour, and the global director of sales, who is aptly named Pushkar, showed me around the car and, answered all my questions. And Galpin, Bo Bachmann, who runs Galpin, he spoke at the event. And then Zenvo's leader, Jens, he also made some remarks. My favorite thing about the Aurora is the gauges. When you get in, you don't see any screens, and that was intentional. They wanted it to be very driving experience focused, no distraction. They said, we feel like the screens have gotten out of control. So they were very intentional in how they included the modern tech and all the features that you would expect, because the cars start at $2.8 million. So obviously you expect them to have all of the features and then some. So you get in, and it was really interesting because you never know, some of those cars, they're not comfortable, or it's just it's a lot, you can have sort of sensory overload. This one, I got in and it was like an exhale. It was very peaceful in the cabin. It was laid out very well. And there are 3 or 4 gauges in front of you behind the steering wheel. And they're like, okay, now watch this. And you push and hold this button, and 2 of the gauges rotate over, and that's where the screens are. And so you have CarPlay or Android Auto. So you have all the features you could want. You have Bluetooth, maps. You have all the car, tire pressure, all of that. But if you want to sort of tuck the tech away and just focus on the pure driving experience, you flip them back. You have your standard gauges, and off you go.
Nice.
So was it the McLaren P1 that did something like that? But it was kind of the opposite, right? You would focus on the racing element of the gauges, right?
Yeah.
So this is kind of very Danish, right? Very,
Yeah, it's like a no nonsense, they Jens was saying they like to make an impact, and he's like, we pack a punch, but in sort of an understated package on the inside. But it was Yeah, I was really struck by like sort of how calming it was.
Yeah.
Just sitting in the cabin, the seats were comfortable, the finishes were beautiful. You know, there's carbon fiber everywhere. The tour that they had this really unique kind of rainbow oil slick paint, and then the Agile was in a white like unicorn finish almost.
cool. Oh.
And yeah, I mean, what I loved is how exposed the technology is.
Yeah.
You know, when you walk around like the Aero and the technology, and they had horizontal suspension, and
wow.
it's like they're really works of art, and you can see the engineering that went into them. And I would love to drive one when the time comes.
Well, you got to sit in one, and
I did.
you had the most baller Instagram picture ever, because there you are in this $2.8 million car with a glass of champagne.
I know. I was like, I don't know whose life this is, but I'm so happy it's mine. I mean, listen, I had an amazing, film crew there. I will say, like my friend Simon Trumper, who works with the brand, he's the one that facilitated me getting to sit in the car, and I didn't realize he was going to be there, so it was really fun to see him.
Yeah.
He splits his time between Italy and Southern California, so you never know where he is. Where in the world is Simon? And then Tori Alonso, who does the summaries for us, and then Derek Powell, friend of the show, obviously.
Yeah. Like
so yeah, between those three, I was in the car, and Simon's like, "Do you want your glass?" Because they were powering it back up so I could see the gauges flip.
I love it.
And then Tori caught the picture. So yeah,
Well,
I'm like, I'm just glad that the photo op turned out the way it did, because it's so funny.
Can we do a big shout out to Tori? Because I don't know if everyone's aware, but after we record each show, Tori takes time to create like a summary. What would you call it? Like a pictograph summary of the show?
Yeah, it's sort of like highlights. Yeah, and he definitely has a way with the GIFs.
Yes.
So thank you, Tori. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. You do, and he does the same thing for Spike's Car Radio. So I feel like we're in great company.
Right.
Thank you. I'm hoping to meet Tori at some point. He lives not terribly far from Denver, and
right.
He's threatened to visit one of these times. He's up this way, so I look forward to that. And also, speaking of Spike's Car Radio, dear Zuckerman, if you're listening, I know we're connected on Instagram at least. I would love to turn that picture of Lindsey in the Zenvo with the flute of champagne into a sticker. I mean, I think that is I don't know, that's just the best mic drop ever. So
I like where your head's at. Yeah.
I thought you were going to say give Lindsey a big afro or something based on this week's Spike's Car Radio.
What's his name? The producer.
Cameron.
The Kilderman. No.
Phil Spector.
Phil Spector. I'd forgotten about that in that giant Brillo pad thing on his head. Bizarre.
Well, and like during the trial, the hair just kept growing.
Oh
so
my
like
God.
just kept getting worse.
like his nose was getting longer, right?
Right.
The more lies he told, the bigger the
Pinocchio version of producer hair.
That was wild. Yeah. There's he's got a gift.
Yeah.
Well, while you guys were living it up, I kind of was with the common people and the cool people. Last Sunday I attended Wagon Fest at the Peterson.
Yeah,
that's right. How was it?
So yeah, it was great. It was hot, and there were 300 odd wagons,
which is amazing.
Right?
That's a lot of wagons.
Come out of nowhere. But no, it was great. So many varieties of wagons as well. It's everything from these stance work M5s, all the way through to Volvos. Saw a few Volvo 850Rs, which are pretty cool.
You don't see those anymore, right? Those were so neat when those were new. Yeah.
And Matt Farrow was there. He turned up with his Taycan, and
nice.
And that was one of the show cars, which was pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think he made the sticker or the poster or something, right?
He did. Yeah, I think it was a sticker. Cool. And it's new, HRE wheels?
Yeah, they look pretty sweet, actually.
They really do. I got to see it at Airwater, I think, right after they were put on, and it looks so good.
Yeah, it's
Polestar could use some of those. Just
HRE, hello, yeah.
Yes, hello HRE.
Standing by to take your call. So, what were your top 3 favorite wagons at the event, Dan?
Someone turned up really early on with the E46 M3 wagon.
Ooh.
So
what?
I think it was a Cars and Bids car.
Is that the one? Like they put it together. It's like a tribute to the E46 because they didn't make the wagon.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that
is it silver?
Yes.
Okay, I've
Nice,
seen that one.
nice.
It's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah,
I
and it
think
definitely
it's a Cars
makes
and Bits car. I'm not sure, but they changed the number plate while they were there. So
Fresh
and
off
put a
the-
Cars and Bits number plate on it.
Fresh off the bat, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's-
So that was there, and that was really cool. The Peterson had a classic car wagon, which I thought was pretty cool, and I can't remember the name of it. I know what it wasn't. It wasn't a Safari because everyone was calling it a Safari, and it wasn't a Safari. But it was a super old classic.
Like an American.
Yeah, Americana. So that
Country
was-
Squire.
Yeah, whatever.
Town and Country or something,
Meteor
yeah,
or
that's-
something. I can't remember the name of it.
Interesting.
So that was, it was good to see Adam and Chrissy and
Nice.
They're
the
the best.
team.
Like those
There
guys.
was literally a line around the block for people to get the T-shirts and
right
all that sort of good stuff. So
Well, they
That's
always do
awesome.
such a great job with their branding and their swag, and I mean
They
they're
really do.
top of the heap. Can I ask you a quick question about the wagon? So everyone always says everything always looks better as a wagon. Did you see anything that would have been better had it stayed a sedan or a coupe? Or
I
not to
don't
throw
wanna be
anyone
that
under the bus,
controversial.
but-
yeah. No, I didn't. I
Yeah.
saw lots of Japanese cars that I wasn't familiar
Okay.
with because we didn't
Like
get
what?
them. I don't know the names of them, but they were square 80s Japanese cars that were wagons, which we
Yeah.
never got in the UK.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
Huh. Could you tell, were they cars that came here? Because I don't particularly remember a ton of those, or
Yeah.
was it people had imported them?
Imported. I don't know. Maybe imported it, but it seemed like the top floor, was mostly Audi.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
They don't make
One-
the tracks.
Yeah. In one corner there was a GT4 Lusso that looked pretty cool. I thought that's the way to turn up in a wagon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the mic drop wagon.
Well, I think what you're saying, Dan, is everything looks better as a wagon.
Yeah,
That's what I
maybe.
heard.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. It's, I didn't dare bring the SQ5 in because I just thought it's not a wagon.
Well,
Don't try.
no.
No.
You're
It's
waiting- You're waiting for Crossover Fest?
That's right.
yes, but an interesting story, right? I swapped the wheels on it, and I'm going on Monday to get the brakes changed. But the
Okay.
rear pads and brakes, the rear rotors are warped. So thank
Wasn't
you
me.
for driving that down safely.
Whose fault is that, Ryan?
There's no
Harkin?
way at the 55 miles an hour we drove from Seattle to LA that it happened
Yeah.
on my watch.
No, I'm not blaming you in any way, shape, or form. It's definitely that they needed to replace them. So thanks for getting it down safely.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you're getting that taken care of. So the next time I drive it, I'll be in top
Doing next
nick.
time.
That's hilarious. You're in the
Yeah.
shop. I gotta make a quick phone call, get my friend's credit card information.
Yeah.
Dan, you've been an Angelino now for a full week. How does it feel?
Yes. It's great. The weather is so much better than Seattle. Sorry, Lindsay, I know that you split your time. So the weather's great. I've been working hard, so I haven't seen a lot of daylight. But I did read where I'm living. There's a rooftop, and I got hold of the latest copy of Magneto.
Oh, hey.
And if you guys aren't familiar with it, it's a really high-end print magazine with lots of articles. And they do a summer edition. And the summer edition is focused on Formula One, but it's been done in such a good way that it's not like if you don't like Formula One, you're not going to be able to read this thing.
Got it.
But our good friend Bassam has got an article in there, and it's all
Nice.
about the Ferrari F50. They went to take it racing, and they built prototypes, and these cars are they were almost comparing it to the 250 GTO in terms of how rare and how how special they are. So if you get a chance to see the magazine, grab a copy.
That's super cool.
absolutely.
And congrats to Bassam.
That guy gets around.
I mean, that's pretty rarefied air where they're like, you know what? The only comparison is a 250 GTO.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. Do you subscribe, or was this?
I managed to find a copy.
Okay, manager. Okay, yeah.
He's got the
We should
hookup.
be
He knows
we
the
should
guy.
be so lucky.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, that's a good recommendation.
Yeah.
Yes.
we have
More. We need
all
more
kinds of
poolside
friends
pictures
with
of you.
That's the last thing you want.
Oh, come on! You get,
But
and
it's a great place to go read.
embrace your new hometown. You know.
Yeah.
It's,
No, it's
So,
a great
okay.
city.
So Bassam's article's in Magneto, and Ryan, your next article's coming out tomorrow, you think? On Autoblog?
in Autoblog, not quite the same, but
Hey, You both wrote articles.
1,000 words. Ferrari 355, the 944 of the Ferrari world, as one of the commenters earlier tonight told me, which was a joke. It was a joke.
How dare they?
Yeah, no, it's a great car. Not an F50, but I am also not Bassam. So now you know.
Not yet.
Yeah. Moving on.
I know. Yeah, what's next?
So I think there was some stuff around Shelby, wasn't there, Lindsay?
Yes, Saturday was a big day. Saturday was very emblematic
You do it
of.
all. Yeah.
I'm exhausted, but I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
Saturday was very emblematic of the Southern California car scene because there was an event in Irvine. It was the Carroll Shelby tribute that they do every year. Team Shelby does. And this year it was celebrating 60 years of the GT350. And there's a venue in Irvine called the Segerstrom Shelby Event Center. And it's a private collection, but they've put together basically a museum, but it's an event venue also. And so they opened up the museum. And they actually were able to close a couple streets, which is no small feat in Irvine. And they had 150 cars. And Aaron Shelby was there, Vince LaViolette, who's been the chief designer for Shelby American for 24 years, Pat Bondurant, who's Bob Bondurant's widow from the Bondurant School in Arizona. And she's very, active in the community. But it was funny because on the way there, we were waiting to turn, and all of a sudden there were McLarens and Lambos coming at us on the main street, and we're like, what's going on? And then again, my friend Simon, who was at the Zenvo event, he was apparently at the Shelby event, and we totally missed each other. But he said, yeah, I came from the McLaren event, then went to the Shelby event, then went to Zenvo. And so there were 150 cars. One of the cars that was really cool was they did a Knight Rider reboot in 2008, 2009.
Yes.
And so Cinema Vehicle Services, which has built a lot of the movie cars for, the last few decades, they actually it was a Mustang that they built the new Knight Rider. So that car was there. And then the Segerstroms have quite a collection of Ford and Shelby Mustangs and then Cobra tributes. My favorite part of it was that I actually got to drive one of the 289 Cobras.
Oh, finally.
To move it. Yeah. So it's the one that I drove.
Oh, it is.
Last
Okay.
June,
Oh, that's right.
but because when I drove it last June, I caught the bug. So when I heard that they were moving it, even though it was just like a matter of yards, I'm like, yes, I'm ready.
I love it. I love it.
Put me in.
It's the 427 that you still need to.
Yeah, that one I have not driven yet.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I want to try it.
Yeah.
I love the 289.
Yeah, I do too. There's something about it that, and from people who have owned both, I've heard the same thing. So
I have too, and I'm surprised. A lot of times in America we always say bigger is better, but the 289, it's like the proportions are so good, and obviously I will do my research and drive the 427, but just the driving experience of the 289, it's like perfectly sized. When I drove it last June, I was like 30 seconds into it, and in my head I went, I get it, and I'm like, uh-oh. And then I said to myself, like, well, if I never go to the track again, this is fine as long as I can do this every Saturday.
Nice.
it's good. It's a sweet life.
I could do a lot worse,
Yeah.
You talked about Bondurant, the school, which is now called Radford.
Right.
So I'm heading out there in the middle of June for 2 days.
Ooh.
For driver
what are you
training.
going to do?
I believe I'm being told I have to go and do 2 days driver training, where you learn car control and all that sort of good stuff. How to deal with ABS and all those brakes and stuff. So looking forward to that. Nice. Although it might be quite hot in June.
It is going to be warm in Arizona. Yes,
Arizona. But hopefully I'm going to catch up with Jorge as well.
Yeah.
So
fun!
I hope so.
Well, I look forward to hearing what your experience is. I haven't been to Bondurant or Radford now, obviously, but I've heard it's so much fun. I know people that went a couple of years ago and they had so much fun. They ended up adding more days while they were there.
Wow.
That's saying something, right? Like, I mean, sometimes you're so exhausted that you don't,
Right.
But you want more.
Or it's like the track, you don't click with the track who knows, but I've heard it's amazing. So I'm excited for you to experience it and you can bring it back and share it with the rest of us.
Absolutely. Very cool.
That's
what's going to happen, Lindsay, is we're just going to be hanging out at home one night, me here in Denver and you on the West Coast. And
wherever
the
I am.
phone's going to ring and it's going to be Dan and Jorge on speakerphone.
drunk.
Hey, you get a cheap flight.
Love you guys.
Right.
I love it.
Hopefully
I
on
love it.
FaceTime so we can fully appreciate whatever shenanigans are going on.
Of course.
Yeah. Oh, hey, I'm coming.
Yeah. Get ready. Start training now.
Absolutely.
How is everyone's weekends looking?
Let's see. I think it's going to be more sort of Memorial Day barbecue focused rather than car stuff. But,
Okay.
stuff always pops up, right? What about you guys?
I've got a car thing. Shout out to our friends at Avance. Again, we, of course, have a chapter of Avance here in Denver, led by Abel Fong. And they've got an event at the Discount Tire in Littleton, Colorado. Discount Tire is now a partner of Avance, and I think all members get 10% off. And if you're in town or anywhere near here, show up. I'll be there. A lot of our friends will be there, friends of the show. And also, they're giving away a $500 Discount Tire gift card to someone in attendance. So if you need tires for spring, this is probably not a bad move. So
You
hope to
should
see you
take
there.
Dan McGuinness with you.
Yeah, that's true.
This is our friend who kind of seems to win every
Yes.
everything.
Yeah,
He has a
Dan,
way
why don't
with
you
the
stay home?
raffles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or come and maybe some of that will rub off on the rest of us. But
Right.
might look a little funny if I won the thing, though, right? So
No,
I mean,
not
that'd
at all.
be a good story. I know.
yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be nice.
I love that Dan is known as like we all introduce him as. Do you remember that guy that won the GT4?
Right. Mr. Lucky.
Yeah.
So funny. I know. Yeah,
It's funny how that GT
the other day about
Go ahead, sorry.
because that was the day that I met Derek Powell and then we forgot about each other and Dan won the GT4 and it was Matt's watch party. There was a lot going on that day too.
Yeah. Oh, and he's doing the Colorado Grand this year, which will be fun in his Alfa Romeo. What's the name? Speciale. No, it's that thing that I couldn't. It's something I couldn't fit in, and that video that he's running that in the Grand this year. So
The Alfa Romeo, too small for Ryan.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah. Could have used a little oleo to fit in that one. Starting to hear a lot about the Grand because I think the people that have been approved or accepted or have found out now. So that means that I will be getting a spreadsheet full of all the car descriptions in the coming couple of weeks, so I can start writing the entries for the book.
That's
so
very
that'll be
fun.
fun. So.
Yeah, because you handle is it the route book, but it also includes background on all the cars?
Yeah, I do the car part. Someone else does the actual route descriptions. And it's a lot of work, a lot of volunteer hours and everything, but it's always a great read. It's always really well put together, and I always learn a lot too. Each year it's a little easier as I learn more and more about the cars, but it's going to be a good one. A lot of friends in it this year. So
That's awesome. I know. That's such a cool event, and hopefully there's some way for Dan and I to even like pop in and check out.
I
all
know
the cars before we leave.
you have to. Yeah, I mean September. We'll be here before we know it. So
Yeah, well, and we still have car week in between now and then.
do.
oh God, we have some talking to do, guys.
Yeah.
It's,
There's some schmoozing and some convincing, haven't we?
yes.
But we're available to do podcasts at Car Week if anyone's listening.
That's true.
True.
That's very true. Yeah, we can do some that car show live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're listening, Bentley or
Yeah.
I don't know, Zenvo or
Yeah.
we're available to
Yeah.
help really bring a better experience to. How do you differentiate compared
Absolutely.
to any other car man? Well, they don't have a podcast, do they?
Right.
right.
Yeah.
It's all about the experiential, and truly, what's more experiential than three of us?
Yeah.
We're going to bring that car show flavor to your brand.
That's right.
Exactly. Elevate it to the next level. Speaking of experiential and all that sort of good stuff, I know we've been asking our audience to let us know who they think we should have on the show. And I just want to say, let's keep that coming because it's bringing ideas to the three of us that we hadn't thought about. So, it's and I think we're going to have a few more guests over the next few weeks. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
We are, so stay tuned.
Yeah. We got some good ones for sure. There's always end up being like such fun, right? They're not interviews, right? I know sometimes people, I don't want to listen to the guest episodes of whatever podcast, right? Because it becomes they're in interviews. This is just this is like another enthusiast just hanging out with us and having fun.
Right.
And,
It's just more time with friends or getting to know
Yeah.
people that we've met that we haven't had time with. And just, it's more of this just with a guest.
that's right. Yeah. They tend to be really cool people too, which is.
Well, I mean, they know us. Come on.
That's right.
Anything else, gang, that we wanted to talk about tonight?
Man, I think
This
I
is a
think we
short
covered it,
show,
right?
but I know
We're just getting efficient
Austin.
at sharing everything.
That's right. Well, I hope to see you at in Littleton, Colorado, at Discount Tire Saturday morning. And if you have any questions, DM me on Instagram or go to Avance Denver on their website. So
That's awesome. It'll be fun. You'll have to tell us about it next week.
absolutely.
Yeah. Who's
Dan?
going to give us the phrase?
Ryan, you want to take it this week?
Phrase that pays. Yeah. All right. Well, hey.
Chicken.
But sorry, by the way, that intro you did last week, Dan, was epic. So if you haven't gone back and listened to last week's show, you need to listen to it just for Dan's intro. But
Yeah, it was like, just let me clarify that for a minute. It's like, let's do a test run, then we'll record it. And you bastards screwed me over.
yeah,
I'd like
was
to note I
perfect.
have nothing to do with the editing of the show.
that's
Exactly, Ryan.
and I think
You're
it's
not
your turn
falling for it.
tonight, Lindsey, by the way, to do the intro for this.
Don't listen to him when he says do the test run.
Right. This is like that episode of I Love Lucy where they're like, ha ha ha, don't tell her we're actually live.
Can you imagine back then when everything was just live, right?
Yeah.
Editing wasn't an option. But anyway, all right. Let me see if I can remember our phrase. We're That Car Show. And until next week, always be driving. I'm Ryan in Denver.
I'm Lindsay in Seattle.
And Dan in Los Angeles.
Look at that. And we'll see you next week.
Night.